Okay, happening right now, there is strong opposition from 2 counties as Miami-Dade decides where to build a new waste management site.
This issue stems from a fire that destroyed a waste energy plant in Broward earlier this year. You probably remember that. Residents there obviously do not want to see this incinerator rebuilt in that neighborhood, and that has the backing, by the way, of Miami-Dade's mayor.
Yeah, she wants to build a new incinerator at the former Opa-locka West Airport, which is right up against Broward County line and will affect established neighborhoods and schools in that area. So joining us this morning to discuss this controversial issue is Miami-Dade District 1 Chairman Oliver Gilbert. Chairman, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And let me just say I have a great appreciation, a better appreciation for what you all do every day, because you all do this so well, and it is very early.
It is early.
Thank you for the compliment. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's way too early.
Okay, so let's break down this issue because a lot of people are talking about it, and there's a lot of concern, in fact, out there. The mayor distributed a memo which says the old Opa-locka West Airport, which is now defunct, is the primary site out of 3 for this new incinerator. Why not just rebuild in Doral? Why bring this problem to Broward's backyard, where there are schools and neighborhoods, established neighborhoods within a mile of this proposed site? Why bring Miami-Dade's trash problem to Broward residents?
Well, it would still be in Miami-Dade County, so it's first to add that. But I don't know that we are. I think that the mayor's memo outlined the 3 sites, but it also outlined what the system needs to look like and what we need to do. And so we're going to have a meeting, I guess, on the 19th, but we have to actually get more information before we actually determine exactly where the incinerator is going to be rebuilt and exactly how our system is going to behave over the next 20 and 30 years. I know, and you all are correct, the incinerator burning down actually forced the conversation, but in truth, we've been needing to have this conversation for a while. How we address our landfills, how we actually get rid of trash. What we know about Miami-Dade County is that apparently we create more trash than the average American. And so that puts a stress on our landfills, it puts a stress on our capacity to actually get rid of that trash. And so we're working on it. I don't know that it will be in the Opa-locka West site, but I do know is we're going to get a lot more information, including cost.
Okay.
Because in the perfect world, everything costs the same or everything costs nothing, but we don't live in that world. We live in a world that's going to have a system that's paid for by the ratepayers, and so we need the system that's definitely top in class and respects our environment and to the greatest extent possible protects and shelters people, but we also need a system that we can pay for.
We've been talking about the location of this place. We want you to look at a map here that we've drawn up here that you can see here, the site. It affects Broward residents as well, yet Commissioner Bermudez, there it is, there's the map. Commissioner Bermudez stated the only Miami-Dade residents affected here are those in a nearby cemetery, which we'll ask you, is this being disingenuous? Because less than a mile away, you've got Broward County residents. You have schools up in Broward County. I don't know if Mayor Messam has reached out to you, but this would be his area as well.
Yeah, no, Mayor Messam's a friend, and he has reached out, and he actually came to our commission meeting to talk to us about that. And what I told him is what I tell all the residents of Broward County and all the residents of Dade County. We're going to be deliberative and thoughtful. We're going to be deliberative and thoughtful as a county commission. Look, I don't take lightly that the incinerator where it is causing problems and cause problems to the people in Doral. I don't have a desire necessarily to rebuild those problems for anybody. So and I think that's why when people ask, what do I think about it? I think that people should actually get more facts, but before they actually form their opinion. Yeah, and I'm not telling anybody not to be worried and not to come out.
Right.
What I'm saying is we need more information before we rush into something that's going to decide how the system looks and decide property values and decide all of these things going forward.
Let's talk about those facts, because in Doral, that incinerator was already there when people in Doral chose to build around it, build homes and whatnot around it. Where the possible site is near Broward, yeah, granted, it is on Miami property, but it is just a mile from these residents, established neighborhoods. They did not decide to live around an incinerator. So what do you say to them who say, you know what, this is a bit of a dirty trick. They're pushing it in our backyard, and they're really doing it while it's on Miami-Dade property. You're affecting people who are powerless to this because they live in Broward.
Well, I don't think they're powerless, because I think that we have to get state permits and federal permits. I think that's why you have the permitting process. So it's not just Miami-Dade County who's going to permit. We don't just decide where something goes and it goes goes there, we're going to have to satisfy, if we put it there, we'd have to satisfy all the state regulatory and federal regulatory guidelines that would allow us to put it there. And to them, while they don't actually have votes in Miami-Dade County for our commissioners, I know that their health and their properties and the fact that they didn't build their homes or buy a home around an incinerator, I understand that concept because, you know, I just imagine if it were me. I imagine if it were me. So it's not lost on me, and I know it's not lost on my colleagues. And that's why I say we're going to do the best we can to protect people generally. I have that faith in myself and our colleagues. So I understand that. And Mayor Messam's been very active for his residents.
He's going to be chirping
He's
in your
been
ear.
very active for his residents. And, you know, look, my friends in Broward have been very active. But I also understand that right now everyone's scared. You know, everyone's scared. The people in Doral, obviously, they don't want it back there. They didn't want it there before it burnt out. Yeah, they didn't want it. But
it's got to go somewhere.
Homes. Right. It does have to go somewhere.
What about trekking it out on trucks and through the railroad system?
Trucks, trains, airplanes, whatever it is. Well, I mean, I think we're going to look at all the options. But remember, and I got to go back to this. It has to be something that's sustainable, and it has to be something that we can actually pay for. So in theory, a lot of these things sound good, and there are a lot of options. We know that Broward is also looking at building an incinerator somewhere in the
in a 5-mile radius of the Opa-locka West Airport. Yeah.
And so that's interesting because that would seem to be a little close to there.
Could you combine your efforts?
You know, it's something that we can look at. It's something we can look at. What we know is that we start off by knowing that we have to be resilient. So when the mayor talks about zero waste, I don't know that we ever, you know, get to zero waste, but we know that we have to be good stewards of the planet. Right now we're tracking a hurricane that's huge and got really hot really quick. But that's because we, for far too long, didn't actually pay as much attention to the environment. Because we know we have to be good stewards of the environment. So whatever we do, we want to be conscious of that. If working with Broward could help us do that, consolidate, I'm open to that. We're open to different scenarios. I think we're going to have a very good, thoughtful, robust conversation about this in September. And then Commissioner Bermudez slipped a motion in there that says that we have to have a system. We're going to design a system no later than, I think it's December 15th. So not just decide what the incinerator is going to be, but how we're going to actually do this over the next 10 or 20 years. Because we need to actually start projecting out.
Yeah.
All right. Commissioner Gilbert, thanks very much for being here. Always good of you to be with us. We do appreciate it, Mr. Chairman, and you're going to get pushback from both sides of the county line for quite some time until this is decided.
Absolutely.
It's tough to be in your seat. It truly is, especially on this hot button issue, but we appreciate your time today. Thank you.